Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you guys for coming out to Intel. I think we were here about 3 years ago or so. It was my first time up here. A great place, fun time. I live back in Myrtle Beach. I come through here, there's a lot of Myrtle Beach resemblance, a lot of the restaurants and stores here. But again, it's a good time. Appreciate you guys coming. So I'm going to give you a presentation today. So Amy came out and asked me, are property managers losing potential customers during the checkout process? And I'm going to kind of go through that, talk about why we think there may be some cart abandonment or booking abandonment occurring, and then some ways that we can kind of shore that up to prevent that, to try to get that booking. So one thing, forgot to mention, I'm Brandon Sauls. I'm the president and owner of Intercoastal Net Designs, IC&D. We do vacation rental website development, digital marketing. We work with numerous property management software systems. Located back in Ocean Isle Beach, North Carolina, it's between Wilmington and Myrtle Beach. So we're over on the coast. And I have April Burns here today. She's been emceeing, I think, a little bit. Come by and see us, talk to April if you have any questions or anything. So we'll get this party started. So, Amy asked me again, are property managers losing customers during the checkout process? Absolutely they are. There are a lot of rabbit holes out there that people fall into, and we don't really know why exactly they abandon. So I just threw some ideas out there. They're maybe not exactly sure of their dates, or they need to check with their traveling partner. I want to vacation to Gatlinburg, but hey, I need to talk to my wife first. They're unsure if the location meets their needs. They've got competitors and your OTAs, exploring destination options. So there's a lot of reasons I go on here of why folks may actually, come to your website and leave to go look for another destination vacation. Amazon and eBay are absolute masters of recapturing that person and bringing them back to the website for a transaction. So how many of you guys have been to Amazon or eBay, put something in your shopping cart, and about 2 or 3 hours later you get an email, right? If you fail to check out, and it reminds you to come back to check out, right? So that's called like shopping cart abandonment. And so they want to do everything they can to get you back to the website to complete that transaction. And again, there's some things we'll go across today and I'll share with you. So the next question is, top reasons why cart abandonment occurs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of compare the day-to-day, like, again, we reference Amazon and eBay frequently here because those guys have spent multis of millions of dollars researching and looking at this topic and how they can recapture that lead. So I'm going to do some apples-to-apples comparison. So let's say you're shopping out there and you go to buy a $10 product and it's a $10 shipping fee. You're like, I'm not going to do that, right? So high shipping cost, right, in the normal world of retailing. But think about your world. What does that mean? Well, maybe that's all those additional fees. So I go to your website and I get your search results page. Say, yes, this property is $1,000. Well, by the time I get to the book now page, it's $1,500. I may abandon. It's the same kind of thing. I was going to pay $1,000, but I'm not going to pay $1,500 after I saw all these additional fees. So we're going to do like a little one-to-one comparison there. The high shipping cost is like high additional fees. Out there in the retail space, you see like a 75 to 90% abandon rate. And it's even worse in our industry. Think about it. Your conversion rate is no more than maybe 0.5% to 2% if you're really rocking it. So there's a lot of abandonment that occurs there when people come to your website. Other times I noted here was like a complicated checkout, like a multi-step checkout. I know I've been to a website before, even taken like a survey, and it's like step one. You go, okay, I'll fill out these 3 or 4 form fields, with my name and email address and address. I go to step 2, and they want to know so much more information. And next thing I know, I'm 5 steps into it. I'm like, you know what? I don't know if there's 6 more steps or what. So I don't like to see a really long multi-step checkout process, and I'll expand on that with another slide or two. And then also lack of trust. If someone doesn't know your brand, I know if I go to a website and I don't know that brand, what I do real quick, I'll pop up another tab and I'll quickly Google it to see how they do. You guys heard it, bad reviews, lack of trust factors from the website to review sites, like Google and Facebook and TripAdvisor. So those are 3 that we think we see a lot is why cart abandonment occurs, these additional fees, complicated checkouts and websites, and a lack of trust. So, in terms of vacation ownership, we don't really have a said like shopping cart, right? That we can go in, you can purchase multiple weeks and even multiple units in one transaction. But we have what we kind of call like, booking abandonment. Not shopping cart abandonment, but booking abandonment. It all starts with that book now button. And so what at the screen I have up here is, really it happens a lot on that checkout page. That's as far as you go way down in your checkout process, deeper in your transaction funnel. And a lot of times they're gonna abandon right from the checkout. And I just have up here, displaying the rates and the form fields and different things like that. So, what is the booking process or funnel? So let's really define this. So again, we're talking about, cart abandonment. Looking at the rest of your website, it's great. You want to spend a fair amount of time looking at your homepage, making sure it's very, it looks great, it feels good, it ranks well. But really what you want to focus on is like those 4 key pages in your website, the money pages. So what I've done here is I've defined those, like in part of that booking process, where does that funnel start at? And really it starts with the search results page. So that's where a user sees what inventory you have available for the dates you've entered, right? So it's just the search results, and you got all your listings back. Then the property display page, information about the given property, photos, reviews, calendar, pricing, and the book now button. And then the checkout page. So consider the cart. The checkout page is kind of the cart, what we're referring to here. And that's where the users enter their credit card information, their final rates with fees, including travel insurance, all is calculated there. And then finally, the booking confirmation page. So what we want to do is we really want to hone in on where this abandonment is occurring and what you can do to keep people in that funnel and to get them through the transaction of booking online with you. So how do we measure booking success? As I mentioned earlier, conversion rates can be as high as 1 or 2%, all the way down to 0.5% or so. And a lot of people ask me, what's a great conversion rate? I can tell you it just spans across the board there because your different markets, different pricing for unit for inventory affects that conversion rate. So what I want you to focus on here today is not so much, what is a great conversion rate, but what is your conversion rate and what you can do to improve on that. Every little percent or 0.5% you can make is that much more in revenue that you can see to your bottom line. So have you guys ever set up you probably have Google e-commerce tracking, conversion tracking set up in Google Analytics, right? But have you ever set up sequence tracking? Does anyone know what sequence tracking is? All right, so bear with me here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip from this slide real quick, but I want to show you this. So any of you guys are advanced users or, are just learning, you can come by and see me. I can show you how to do this. I want to flip over and just show you how easy it is to set up sequence tracking. So with the slide that you see up here, I'll flip over in just a minute. I'm going to expand here. You can create a custom segment with a sequence in Google Analytics that allows you to measure how your website is performing on those 4 key pages, right? So your conversion rate is a lot different than like your actual little sequence conversion rate, because people can come to your website and you have thousands of visitors coming to your website, and that's what makes your conversion rate look lower. Like you got a lot of good content and things are being found on your website for things to do and different things, but you really want to measure what's happening within those 4 pages. So I'm going to bounce out here real quick. Let me see if I go here, and then let's see. Yep. Analytics up. So what you do here, guys, so log into Google Analytics, right? This is your regular Google Analytics screen. I like to go to that left-hand side over here where it says traffic and channels. For me, this is just an easy page to go to start this particular process over under all traffic and channels. And I can go and I can add a segment. So we're talking about sequence tracking. We want to add a segment to be able to watch those segment out those 4 pages. And in there, you're going to add a new segment. Red button here. And again, I know I'm showing you, but feel free to come by and I can give you some exact instructions how to do this. I'm going to go down to sequences. So if you notice right here, it's going to say there's like a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So I'm just going to do one to show you. If I go down to this drop-down menu here, and first thing I want to start doing is looking for page. So any page that contains, there's actually a page option down here, page, and it contains whatever the URL is for your search results page. I'm just going to simply type results, and I may misspell it, but you get the idea. Okay, so the next thing it says right below, add the next step. So I just added the results. If I add next step, I'm going to say, hey, where page contains my property detail page URL. The next step will be where my page name contains the booking checkout page, and the last one being the booking confirmation. So I'm going to put in a 4-page sequence here and actually monitor that. Now, it's really cool because after you build this out and you save it, you can go back in and you can see where people are falling off at. Are they falling off at the search results page? Is it because you're not showing accurate pricing up front? Or are they falling off on that final checkout page, and is there a reason there that may be happening? This is going to let you see where that's happening at to dive in a little deeper. So let me bring you back to my screen here, and then I'm going to show you a little bit more. Don't peep at my notes. I have to have those. All right, let's drag this back over here. All right. Get back and expand this, and we'll get back on track. So sequence tracking is pretty cool. So there you can kind of see the raw numbers of what's happening. What's your conversion rate in there? And it may be a little bit higher than like your overall website conversion rate because you got a lot of traffic coming on many pages where we're just focusing on just those 4 pages. But the next thing I want to talk about is, are you guys familiar with Hotjar? You ever used Hotjar before? So jot that down. It's hotjar.com. You can do a free version of it. It's limited, but it's still very eye-opening. You can go in, and they will give you a little piece of tracking code. Just have your web developer toss it into the website header there. It's very easy to implement. But what's so cool about Hotjar is it actually records the video, and you can watch people's mouse actually track through the website and what they're looking at. And if you do the pay for, you can track just these 4 pages, where if you don't do the pay for, you have to look at all of it. And you can filter on down in there. But what I like to see is with that video tracking, I can see people's mouse move on the website. And it's very cool to go in there and watch. And you can almost see where their hangups are at. So sometimes they may come in and you can almost see their mouse swirling around the rates. And they're kind of looking around it and all. And you start thinking like, oh, there's a problem with the rates or something there. And analyze that. But hotjar.com is really cool and easy to implement on your site. I think between setting up some sequence tracking and Hotjar is going to give you some great insight of why there's some abandonment occurring and where it's happening at. So the next thing is, why do they abandon bookings? Amazon doesn't really know why, but they do a great job of honing in and trying to bring people back to make that purchase. And I love this photo. You can see that cart right there has been abandoned very hard in that ocean. Okay, so now we've kind of talked about cart abandonment, right? Now let's start thinking about some things we can do that prevents cart abandonment and keeps people coming back to your website to finalize that transaction, okay? So some of this stuff we talk about is old. You guys heard us talk about site speed. You heard us talk about mobile experience. But I want to rehash a few things with you because it feels like every time I come out to present at the conference, I actually have a few new tidbits of information to share with you that I didn't think about last time. So let's hit a couple good points right here. Condense large pictures, all right? Sounds pretty obvious, right? But let me take some easy ways to go about this. When I talk about large pictures now, I'm not talking about your property management software into the booking engine. I'm talking about all the other informational pages in your website and what you can do to help improve that speed and that load time. So there's actually a website, you can jot this down. It's called tinypng, T-I-N-Y, png.com, tinypng. And what it allows you to do, and you may be able to do it, you may need your web developer to do it, but anyway, you can go through and you can actually extract all your images, toss in this website. And I've watched it take a 2 or 3 meg image and compress it and condense it down to like 200 or 300 kilobytes, which is a huge, huge savings in load time and all. It's a free service. I think you got to upload like 25 photos at a time, but really you can go in and you can identify your top photos and the ones that are really giving you a grief. And that's an easy picture. You don't need Photoshop. You don't need expensive software to do it. You can do it for free on that tiny PNG. And you can pay for it to do more in bulk if needed, but Tiny PNG is a pretty good place we go look at. Next is listen to Google recommendations. I actually mentioned it down that last bullet point, but go Google Page Speed Insights. You guys ever look at Google Page Speed Insights? Plug your URL in there. Just Google that, throw your URL in, and Google's going to tell you where you need to improve at. They're going to tell you need to defer certain JavaScripts and CSS from loading, and it's going to tell you what images you need to go and plug into that tiny PNG website I mentioned earlier. But the point is look at that, and a lot of times some of the stuff they recommend, it's almost like too futuristic. It's too much for what we need to do because we like to be able to represent our locations with beautiful, big photography and all. So there's some things you almost have to throw to the wayside and say, listen, I'm a destination website. I got to have these great looking photos. But be careful. You can actually over-optimize a website. We've done that before. One of the recommendations that Google said was to defer your CSS load time. So what CSS does is it almost like tells the website how to prop up and look. And if you over-optimize it, we deferred it to load at the very end. The website came up really kind of scattered and weird looking. So make sure if your web developer is doing anything there that they don't overdo it, because it can be done. Next is use a CDN for images. So a CDN means a content delivery network, CDN. And a CDN would be like Rackspace, be like Amazon. You can actually go there and load your websites there and have them pull off of that third-party site. And a lot of times they'll load a lot quicker out of that CDN because they're strategically located across the US. And those images are what will cause your website to load slower, but they know how to kick those images out from a more localized region where you're at and help them load a little bit quicker. So ask your web developer, hey, can we use a CDN? If you're using WordPress, there's free WordPress plugins that tie into all of these different ones that are out there. Storing data locally. So I'm going to dive on this one for a minute. With your property management software systems, with your PMS, think about this. We use a thing that's called an API. So what an API allows us to do is to go out to hit your property management software and to request information like photos, availability, rates, just property descriptions, and so on. What we try to do is actually store as much of that data locally so we don't have to hit that API every time. So think of it like this, think of our servers are sitting here, and if we can store data locally, we only have to go here. If we got to go hit an API, we have to go from here to, let's say, Utah, wherever that actual property management software houses their servers. So we house like photos, descriptions, basic information about your properties. Amenities that doesn't change frequently, right? That just doesn't change every day. So we try to store as much as we can, so we don't have to make that little short trip out to get data rather than having to make an API connection. Of course, we use industry, best practices in the industry. When needed to use an API call to get rates and availability, we will do that, and the user, will experience a slight delay, but store as much as you can locally. Never stop optimizing and monitoring. So that means, again, using Google PageSpeed Insights. And another one I'm going to toss out to you is called gtmetrics.com. I got it up on the screen here. It's gtmetrics. You can go there. It's like Google PageSpeed Insights. Toss your URL in there, and it's going to give you kind of a little bit of a different evaluation than Google of where you can increase, where you can make up some gains with site speed. The point I say is, never stop optimizing and monitoring. Basically, don't stop monitoring, because here's what will happen. You probably with your website, you have a control panel, and you can actually go in and just kind of guess, and you may be able to load in photos and all for your homepage slider, for example, on your homepage. Well, as a novice user, you may not realize you just uploaded 3 photos that are 3 megs apiece. That's almost 9, 10 megs of photos, and not knowing any better, all of a sudden you got a slow site. And you wouldn't know that if you wasn't savvy, but if you go back and you monitor this thing monthly using one of these 2 websites I mentioned, it's going to point that out to you, and to go optimize those images. So site speed is important. Let's see, next. Yep, that works. Okay, so mobile experience. Guys, I know you hear this over and over as well. I'm just going to hit a few high points here. Mobile traffic increases over last year by about 20%. Conversion rates are coming up on it. Not as many people are booking online using their mobile devices as they are with their desktop, but it's up, we saw, from about 0.5% to 0.65. And all sources are increasing mobile traffic, but a big jump in the pay-per-click. So what we've seen is there's a tremendous amount of traffic being driven to mobile by pay-per-click. And the reason is, you see a lot of the OTAs out there competing against you. Google hotel ads for vacation rentals, the OTAs are bidding more on these keyword phrases. So try to start using more long-tail keyword phrases when you're doing your bidding on these keywords and actually for your organic optimization. So think of it like this. A lot of these larger companies like VRBO, just making it, for example, or HomeAway, they're going to bid, let's say, like on Gatlinburg cabin rentals. Some of these larger keyword phrases that bring a ton of traffic, but they have a very low conversion rate. So the more long tail it is, the more someone's probably going to come in and book on that term. Meaning, like, if I search for, Gatlinburg 5-bedroom cabin rental with a hot tub, I'm really specific. I know exactly what I want to get. So make sure that you really have your pay-per-click campaigns optimized to pick on those long-tail keyword phrases that a lot of the OTAs aren't necessarily bidding on. You know your market. You know what people are searching for and asking about. Make sure you're bidding on those terms. Keeping focused here, though, on the mobile experience. There's a website out there. Here's another take-home for you to jot down. It's called browserstack.com. So just like a website browser, browserstack.com. Go there. I think, I know, they don't have a freebie version. I think it's about $20 a month or so. But what's cool about that website, you simply bring it up and it gives you all these awesome options. You can say, hey, I want to test this on a Mac, I want to test it on an iPhone, Android, tablet, what operating system. And you yourself, as the owner of your website, I think you should do that to make sure you're generating a really good user experience on a mobile device. And Browser Stack will allow you to do that because, just like you guys, I'm only on iPhone. I don't know what looks on an Android. But if you go to this website, it's going to do a great job of rendering that and allow you to take a peep at it. So take a look at browserstack.com. Check it out just for a month and just make sure your website is doing the best it can in the mobile world. Okay, so now let's talk about some things we can do with people on your website to keep them there in case they go to abandon. So actually Google coined a term here a couple years ago called a micro moment. I'm just kind of giving you an example. Let's say I'm sitting here at lunchtime with my wife and I think about, I'm gonna go vacation in Gatlinburg. I'm gonna go run a cabin rental in Gatlinburg. That's a micro moment. That's where it starts. Next thing you know, I'm on my mobile device. I'm just going to be Googling everything to do in Gatlinburg. What's all the fun things to do? What vacation rentals are available? Cabin rentals are available to me? And we've probably all done this before. You're sitting at lunch and you go, you know what? I'm all the way to the property detail page. I'm looking at it, but I'm power shopping. I've been to a couple different ones, but I'm not ready to book right now. It's lunchtime. I got to wait till I get home to think about this. So what we've done on that left-hand side, where that is under like your property detail page where your rates are totaled out, there's actually a button there that says, remind me to book this later. So if you click that button, this is what pops up. So that larger screen there is what pops up. Hey, are you on your mobile device? You too busy to book right now? Set a reminder, we'll email you and have you come back and book this unit. So the thing is, we don't want to defer, we don't want to cause you not to book that property, but hey, you're at a point in time where you're probably not going to do it anyway. But if I have a capability to set a reminder, so you see that drop down, it says, remind me to book in how many hours? If it's lunchtime, maybe 8 o'clock, and put my email address in. Send me a reminder. So at 8 o'clock tonight, I'm going to get a nice branded email with unit information, with a quick book now button to come back and book that unit. So that's one way to keep people on your website, right? If they're there and they're getting ready to abandon, maybe they go, hey, let me put this in to come back in a few hours and check this out. Because they may be shopping, they may be power shopping OTAs and all these other ones. They don't remember your website, but this will come back in their inbox in a couple hours. So just a feature that you want to think about adding to your site. Next, this is pretty straightforward. I'm going to talk about two different things here. Getting people to the search. So make sure you have a quick search on every single page in your website. So no matter if I'm on the blog, the About Us page, wherever I'm at, I'm going to have a quick search on that top right there. So a lot of you guys, you spend a lot of time on content generation, right? And you're building all these great pages, and if you Google Gatlinburg, cabin rentals and things to do, maybe you land on a page that talks about things to do, but it has nothing there to lead them on to a booking, to be able to search out a unit. And that's what we're here to do, right? Is to get an online conversion. So one is make sure you have that search on every page. And then better yet, if you're actually doing this content generation, and you're building pages about a 5-bedroom cabin rental, a 3-bedroom cabin rental, a 2-bedroom cabin rental. Well, when they land here, right below on the page where you have that great content, actually have the website pull back in from your PMS all the units that match the content that you're blogging about or you're writing about, right? So if someone actually Googles and finds that page, a lot of times they rank really well. All they can do is scroll down and they instantly are able to go and look at those properties right there and start the booking process. So again, I'm just trying to put that search in their face, and if not even more, I'm trying to put units directly on that content to get them to start down that funnel we talked about a little earlier. Next is ease to search. So this is where we really looked this up. This is a VRBO search for Pigeon Forge, and I look at them right, and I'm like, okay, property types look good: cabins and chalets and houses and cottages and beds. And I look at location, and beach came up. I'm like, what? There's no beach in Pigeon Forge last time I checked. So that's the thing that these guys can't do good, that you guys can do really good. So every day your reservations, you're on the phone, you know what they're searching for in your market. These big guys don't have that. They don't have that in market type knowledge that you guys have. So if someone's looking up, always calling you and asking about cabins that have a hot tub, put that back up towards the top of your search. And, the items that people are filtering on, asking about, searching on, make that thing easy and put it up. Again, this just could be where someone comes to the website and they're like, you know what, I can't find the search terms I want to work with. I can't find the properties I want to work with here, so I'm out. And so my point is just make sure your search is very easy to use and has the search parameters and values that you think that your guests are looking at. You know it better than anyone else does. So the next one here, Amber hit on this a little bit earlier in her presentation. I'm going to take it just to another level here, talking about it. So you guys have probably seen where the Google local business listings have been replaced now by this, Google vacation rental portion here, where it actually shows the units and the value there. And this is where Amber was talking about earlier, making sure that information matches up accurately. So I'm going to talk about price transparency. I'm going to give you some ideas of what to do to combat this. So, talking about clickbait, look at this. I come on here, and let's just look at that top example. That's an $80 per night unit, right? So three nights times $80 is $240. Yes, I can afford $250. I can do that all day long. I'm going to come stay there. But by the time I clicked there and started doing the checkout process, I got down and it was $504. It was more than twice the price due to the owner fees and the service fees and taxes and all. So be very transparent about your pricing and try to get your pricing as high as you can, that funnel, to what the actual price will be. So what I like to try to do, and I'm going to show you an example, is make sure that you have all your options and fees, all your optional fees removed out, and show them the lowest legitimate price it takes to get them to go book a unit. Bear with me real quick. I'm going to switch out. I'm going to take you over to show you one thing here real quick. Okay, so one thing I want to hit on a while ago that I didn't have room on the other slide is, notice in the middle it says like our pricing. You see Booking.com, Expedia, hotels, and so on. If you can kind of figure out on average what that additional cost is to book through an OTA, maybe you go run the numbers and it's consistently 8 to 10% or whatever it may be. You may want to take that information and put back on your property detail page where the rates are being displayed and say, hey, book direct with us to get best pricing out there. Booking with one of these OTAs, such as VRBO, HomeAway, Booking.com, it may cost you 10% more, and kind of show them some of those rates. We haven't done that yet, but it's kind of one of my next strategies I want to do to try to start letting people know to book direct and get the best prices out there. So another feature we've done here that would be great to see on your site is, if you guys have gone like to Google Flights before, and you put it in, and it will email you as the flight rate fluctuates up and down, right? So this has resonated in some markets, not in others. For those you use, any you guys use like Beyond Pricing or Rented.com or Price Labs? Do y'all use that in this market? I'm just curious to see what happens here. So this is pretty cool for you guys who are constantly changing your rates with rate fluctuations and all. It allows the guest to sign up for price alerts, and that's what you see below that Book Now button. Is that, hey, I'm getting ready to book this. Sign up for price alerts. And I understand that, if the rate's going down, it's going to kind of trend people to maybe want to come use this feature to watch as that price goes down. But hey, you know what? We don't have to send the email out if it doesn't move that much. We can only send on the increase if you wanted to. Point being is, if you get down to 90% occupancy, 95% occupancy in this July 4th, week, that rate will start going up. So that's the real point of this particular your feature for you guys, is you want to get them on that higher rate. So if all of a sudden I start receiving an email, and that's what this little top screenshot is. It's a part of an email that says, hey, come back and book now. The weekly rate is now $1,600. It's going up or down. If I see it going up, I'm going to come back out here and I'm going to book real quick. So again, that's where someone would come to your website and abandon because maybe the prices are too high or too low, and they sign up for this feature, and you're going to come back and book based on how that price fluctuation is going along. The next feature is like urgency. Push them to get through, that checkout process, FOMO, fear of missing out. If all of a sudden that, someone thinks that they're going to be missing on a property or the dates, or someone's going to steal that property they're looking at for that July 4th week, they're going to book a little quicker. And so we actually looked at some other websites out there. I feel sure you've seen these on like Booking.com and some other sites, but we brought that on specifically into the space that you guys operate in, and we put some urgency features up. So for example, there's 3 different ones I have here. Maybe on the search results page, I pop up a little flame that says, hey, 81% of your inventory matching your search criteria is booked. You better book now. The inventory is running out. You better speed it up and get through this checkout process. Another thing we've done with that blue bar you see down below is we actually tapped into Google Analytics. When you go into Google Analytics, you can see how many people are on your website at that very moment in time. There's actually an API that allows us to see that and pull it in. And so it says, hey, 65 people on this website right now planning their vacation you better go ahead and start booking, thinking about it. And on the third thing we've done is if you see on that other side, it says this property's been looked at 70 times in 4 days. Well, you could make that be 70 times in 24 hours, whatever you want to do, but it's a real number, but it's over a certain time period, and you guys can dictate that. And the same thing with that 81% of your inventory. If it comes back to only 25% of your inventory is matching your search criteria, you don't want to show that, right? So we put a threshold and only show it like 70%, 80%, and so on. But again, just giving them a sense of urgency. The inventory is limited, and you better get through that checkout process. And no kidding, since we've been doing this, we've seen those booking windows decrease from 5 to 7 days to more like to 3 and 4 days. So I feel confident these features really do help get them on through there. Next is your property detail page. So this is thinking about, again, why would people abandon their cart? It's because the property detail page may be confusing. You want a good property detail page loads fast in the mobile and desktop. You may want to go take one of your property detail pages and toss into GT Metrics or Google Page Speed Insights and ensure that the images, most of your images from your property management software systems are coming out of a CDN. And there's ways to dynamically resize them as they're received in on your website. So you want to make sure that, behind the scenes, your photo isn't that big and you're compressing it down to that big to show on the screen. So look behind the scenes, look under the hood there and make sure that it's loading fast and those images aren't really killing you. Now, I know you're probably going to have 25 or 30 more images on that property detail page. Just make sure they're really good and they're optimized. Talking about photos, high quality photos, you guys have probably been to a website that has shabby photos, and it really makes a difference when you go and look at a website that has great, great photography. And one of our clients is Acme House Company. It's one of Amber's clients as well. Out in Palm Springs has awesome photos, and I'm telling you, I think it has a lot to do with the success of that website there. Make sure you have current reviews on your website. Those are trust factors. Make sure you have the 5-star ratings on your property detail page and your your search results page. A lot of people look to see that out there in the community, no matter what space that you're shopping in. They look for those stars and those ratings. And making sure your price is clear and competitive. And we've gone through that. I kind of beat that dead horse a while ago. But I'm telling you, it's so critical. And I know you guys know your pricing, but just make sure it's being represented very, very clearly online, as we talked about a little earlier. That has a tremendous impact. I talked about an overcomplicated booking page. I mentioned this in my opening act here. It's okay to have step 1, step 2, step 3, but all the information is shown right there on actual on one page. I'm not having to click to 2 or 3 different pages to get to 2 or 3 different of those form fill areas right there. Just make sure you go through your booking page and look at it both on mobile and on desktop. Next is, give them a deal they can book online with. So this is one of our clients right here. They work with a property management software system that allows them to put in their rate and then what the rate was. So think about it, and most PMSs out there, you can only put in what your actual rate is for the day that you're booking or that week you're booking. But you want to be able to show people a line item discount, a strike through. So if you notice right there, that price above the strike through, it's about $300 more, $267 more. As a person shopping on the site, I want to know if I'm getting a deal that is just as it say I'm getting something. I want to kind of see it. And that just helps resonate that there's actually something there and I'm getting a great deal on it. Give them an end date to book by. So if you're advertising specials, make sure on that specials page, if you're going to take advantage of the special, you have from May 1 to May 10th, and you need to book for that July 4th special during that time period. And maybe show a counter on that page. Hey, you've got 3 days to book the special. You go back, you got 2 days to book the special. And again, that kind of gives them that urgency to get through it and to get it done. And one thing you can do is like a promo code. And us web developers talk to your companies. They can actually put a promo code in behind the scenes when they come to the website, if it's valid for that property, to show that right off the get-go and not require the person to put that code in because they may not be able to find it. And that's going to show them that price discount and help them get through the checkout process. All right, so this is a really cool feature. So this is that booking abandonment email. Remember earlier I talked about Amazon and eBay. If you put something in your shopping cart, what's going to happen? They're going to send you an email if you fail to check out. That's what's happening here. So on your actual checkout page, we're on the page where we're entering in our credit card information to finalize the booking. I'm going to put in my first name, my last name, my email, and for one reason or another, I abandon my cart. The kids are screaming. Maybe my internet cuts off like it did a while ago, and I don't finish that transaction. What we do is we'll look into your historical booking and data and see did that booking occur with that particular individual. And if it didn't, we'll send them an email. And that email that you see right there to the right is just like that Amazon email. It's going to say, hey, you left something in your cart over at the XYZ website. Here's the photo of it. Here's a brief description. One click to come back and book now. So someone's abandoned, give them to come back. And no kidding, we actually implemented this for a client up in a market up in Maryland. And over a 1 month period doing peak booking, they represent about 350 properties or so. But doing peak booking, that email was directly accountable for about $120,000 in revenue. People who got that email, they did not book, they got the email, they clicked the book now button and went and finalized their transactions for a tune of about 120 grand gross revenue. So would they come back and book? Maybe, but hey, there's a reason why these guys are doing this in other parts of the e-commerce world. Let's do it in your space too and take advantage of that, right? One other example of like a cart abandonment, we call like a cart abandonment footer. So let's say you're on the actual checkout page and you get ready to check out, and from reason or another you go, I think I'm gonna go back and look at the About Us page or see how the reviews are on this website or see if there's a special available to me. But when I do that, what happens is that little gray bar you see with that red, with the red line coming through it populates the bottom of your browser and it stays there, persistent throughout your browsing session, no matter what page you're on. It says, hey, you've got one incomplete booking. You were so close to doing it. View unit or go back and book your vacation. Same thing, same technology was implemented in that website I mentioned earlier, and this one did about $27,000 revenue in that same month. So people who actually got to the checkout page opted to go but look at something else on the website, but they came back and clicked on that little footer bar that tracked them around to go back. Because if you guys are representing a lot of inventory, it's hard for that viewer to remember what property they're looking at. And this way, I'll kind of track them around. In addition to that, if you notice, there's another screenshot that says recently viewed. So just out of default, every single page that a viewer goes to, or not page, but every property detail page they go to, we log it into a little window that says recently viewed, so they can go back and look at it. So again, it's just ease of use, getting people back to the property we're looking at with one click to get back to start the booking process. So think about implementing those strategies in your website, the shopping cart abandonment email and the cart abandonment footers to help try to get those guys converted. Just a few more slides here. Trust factors. Think about it. If I go to book on a website I've never heard of before, I always kick open another tab. I do a quick Google search and I try to find out the reviews and how that company is performing. So it's really important you have a real good trust factor out there in the space. So just some ideas. Feature a guest review on your Facebook feed once a week. Just get a guest to submit some information about their stay and just post that on there. That helps build trust. Maybe share it a feature home. Be transparent and go live with Facebook videos. I know we live at the beach and we can go out and simply take a Facebook live photo and watch a little bit of surf crash. And that video gets tons of views. Same thing for you guys up here with these mountain views with sunrises. It seems simple. You guys wake up to it every day. But for those who don't live here, we love a mountain sunrise. It's like you probably like to see a good ocean wave crashing on the beach. Seek positive company reviews. Do that obviously with post-departure. Maybe post-departure surveys or in-stay kind of survey. Send them an email, have them go out and use Facebook and Yelp and TripAdvisor and so on to encourage them to put reviews there. And use those property star ratings like I mentioned earlier. We're all common with that 5-star, we all know that common 5-star rating system out there. Make sure that's on your property detail page and your search results page. See, 2 more slides and I think this is the bonus slide. So what the bonus slide is, extend your stay. So now I've been talking about people, coming to your website, why they're abandoning, things we can do to get them back not to abandon. And so finally we got a booking, right? I just kind of want to throw this bonus slide out there. Think about this, we see more and more mini stays out there, like a Thursday through Sunday kind of mini stay. That's pretty popular, pretty common. And you as a property management company, you want to be able to maximize your revenue on those shorter stays. So how about 10 days in advance of that person arriving? Send them an email and say what continuous days before are available and what continuous days after are available and extend your stay, right? Hey, it's 10 days out. You're coming to vacation with us for a short time period, Thursday through Sunday, but guess what? Monday through Thursday is available as well as Sunday through Monday. Why not extend your stay? And so those are just some ideas to help maximize revenue whenever you find you get someone to come back and to make that booking. So That is it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask away or come by and check us out, or I'll be happy to send you a slide deck and show you how to set up that sequence tracking or anything along those lines. So thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.